Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Something that Jesus said. He also went on to say in that same passage that by their fruits you shall know them. Something very interesting to think about. But today we're rebuilding a trap. We got a little bit of history on the trap. We'll talk about that. My dad bought a farm several years ago, and in working in that farm, he uncovered a trap. And this is the frame of it here. And it was assembled when he gave it to me, and he knew that I had interest in that. Coyote trapping. I've been shooting them for years, and I began hunting coyotes while hunting deer, and it seemed like for the last 20 or so years I encounter coyotes running deer, chasing deer, literally. Depending on where you read and what you read, people will say that deer don't predate on adult deer. I know better. I've seen it firsthand. Many folks I know archery hunt, and myself included in years past, and in tracking deer, oftentimes a coyote will get on the blood trail and beat you to the deer and have the deer eat before you can get to him. But anyway, doing a little coyote trapping, and Dad gave me this old trap. I couldn't ID it, so I dropped the pan off in a jar of vinegar. This is the pan. I'll identify all these parts of the trap. And found out it was a Victor. Well, what size Victor? And I knew it was pretty big. So I got to looking at pictures. I did like a Google Bing image search of Victor traps and just started looking at them. And I finally ID'd this trap by the measurement of the jaw opening and these levers. It's hard to see, but there is an H shape in these levers, and that is typical of the number 3 Victor-Oneida. So I kind of took a chance and ordered a number 3 Oneida Victor trap from Minnesota Trapper Supply, and guess what? That's the exact trap, the exact size. So I wanted to rebuild the trap, and again, I went ahead and ordered several of these because I knew that's what I wanted. And I got replacement springs for this trap, and got her set there. But anyway, showing you a little more, you'll see that T, or it's a double T is what it is, not an H. But this is the old number 3 Oneida Victor, and you'll see these levers are a little different, but they're still very similar. That's the lever. This is the old pan. You can see there's not much left of it. And here's the coil springs. This comes apart very easy with a screwdriver. Minnesota Trapper Supply sells these. These are music wire springs. These are supposed to be superior to the factory ones. $1.38. And this is November of 2017. But we'll put this old trap back in working condition. Show you something else. That trap is about $14 and change, almost $15. So I thought I would order the Duke number 3, and did. And guess what? I believe it's a copy, almost exactly, of the Oneida Victor. Of course, it's made in Korea. It's right at $11, I think, for the same trap. And I've got these tore apart here on the ground, but you'll look, even the stampings, all the way down to the spot welds, it's the same thing. Of course, I don't know about the quality of the steels, but it is almost an exact carbon copy. Almost looked to me as if it would be a patent or a copyright infringement. But it's, I mean, almost identical. Everything about it. Of course, it's got Made in Korea stamped in the frame, on the pan, and I've read a lot about this. It's not as finely finished as the Oneida Victor. The Oneida Victor, the edges are all turned. It doesn't have any burrs on it. And that's minor, you know. But it's basically the same trap. The main difference is that the Oneida Victor is center swiveled. Well, it's got a J-hook through the frame, which allows it to swivel there. And a little heavier chain. Now, this chain right here, I think, is a number 3. And it's not a machine chain. It's not a welded chain, but this is what I've read is rated for 300 pounds, which should be plenty for a coyote. But this chain is a real light, small chain, and the swivel here is small and thin gauge. And then the J-hook is through the side of the frame, which this old Victor, that's the way it was. The chain rotted plumb off it. But I've got me a base plate and a D-ring I'm going to weld in on the Victor number 3 that I'm rebuilding. And I'm building my own J-hooks and swivels here. And I'd like to have a Bob Custer trap bender, but I'm doing this with a piece of railroad tie and a vise. We'll do that in another video, but maybe this help you if you're wanting to trap coyotes, give you some things to think about. Traps are easy to work on. I've got a set of gloves on here. It's probably best to wear gloves. They won't break your hand. These particular traps won't, but they'll sure skin your knuckles up. If you don't want that, you better wear some gloves. But the hardest part about getting them apart is getting the jaws out. And that's another thing. The Oneida Victor, the jaw tips are bent in such a way that they don't just slip out. And I straightened these a little bit where I could get them out. I'm 44 years old, and it was about used up all my beans getting these jaws out. That's the hardest part. And of course, you turn it up on its side and mash on it, and they'll come out. But, thank you for watching. I'll post another video about the J-hooks and swivels.